Crystal Palace against Arsenal on the Friday night. Arsenal with the clean sheet and the 2 goals. But as for today, well, New Boys Fulham, what a start it was for them. It was a draw in the end, but they put an awful lot of pressure on Liverpool and actually went ahead twice in the game. Bournemouth, New Boys as well, really did impress, firing 2 past Aston Villa, keeping the clean sheet at the Vitality Stadium. Leeds United hoping for a better campaign this time around than the last, and they got off to a winning start against Wolves. 2-1 was the scoreline in the end. It was a clean sheet for Newcastle against New Boys Nottingham Forest. It was 2-0 in the end. Steve Cooper's boys, well, they had a good go at it, but they didn't manage to score a goal in that game. Tottenham, how impressive were they? 4-1 against Southampton, and then we've just seen Chelsea beating Everton at Goodison Park. It was 1-0, and tomorrow we've got 3 exciting games to bring you. Leicester City, I mean, I don't know how the fans are feeling right now because there are no new signings, no replacement for Kasper Schmeichel. Let's see how they get on against Brentford. That's at 2 o'clock tomorrow. And at the same time, Manchester United kickstart their campaign in the Premier League under Erik ten Hag against Brighton. And then the day will end at West Ham, with them taking on the champions Manchester City.
The Chelsea fans go home happy from Goodison. The home fans slightly less so after that 1-0 defeat by Chelsea. The decisive goal coming from Jorginho from the spot. Chelsea had 15 attempts compared to Everton's 8. 6 of theirs were on target, 4 for Everton, and the XG 0.62 for Everton compared to 1.74 for Chelsea. Roughly the same number of touches in the opposition box. Chelsea had twice as much possession as Everton and 16 corners in the game. But of course, the most important statistic is the scoreline and Chelsea winning it by 1-0. What did you think of the game, Duncan?
I thought the first half Everton were comfortable, a wee bit unfortunate to go in behind with the penalty, which was a penalty. Second half they come out, they did well. The first 10 minutes of the second half, created a few chances. And for there, they were quite comfortable really, without really being a real threat. I think maybe that big number 9 that they were missing today, he would have made a big difference to them. But yeah, I think they started the second half well. I think they were quite comfortable, as I said. Chelsea never really created anything in the second half until late on. Maybe Sterling gets a wee chance late on in the 80th minute. But no, I thought Everton were comfortable, and they were really unfortunate. I mean, I'll be feeling for Frank tonight because, I mean, he loses his 2 centre-backs. It was tough on him, you know. He maybe wanted to change things round about. So I feel for him a wee bit, but it was a decent performance for Everton. And not much for Chelsea, really, other than the penalty. Yeah,
there were moments in the game, Jamie, obviously the most significant of them, the penalty incident and the goal, but it never really caught fire.
No, it didn't. And sometimes that's due to, Duncan alluded to it there, with Ben Godfrey having an injury, 8 minutes, it sort of took the sting out of the game to a certain extent. Chelsea certainly weren't at their best today, but opening day of the season, the most important thing, 3 points. Mikel Arteta was talking to you last night, just get that win, doesn't matter how you play. They struggled in terms of, Duncan mentioned Everton not having number 9. I think they didn't quite have that fluidity either. Sterling played up there, didn't quite work, although I thought he looked really sharp and dangerous. Sometimes you need that little bit of a focal point. You look at teams that have that, it makes such a difference. Calvert-Lewin might have made that difference for Everton today. Obviously, he's out for 6 weeks. Brozier then came on for Chelsea, but they weren't quite as fluid as you like. But that might be the case for 3-4 weeks. You've got a lot of new players coming into the team. You've got a back 3 that that haven't really played together too often, although they've got an incredible amount of experience, a combined age of 100, which is pretty phenomenal in this age, and kept a clean sheet as well. But I think Thomas Tuchel, without thinking his team played very well, 3 points. That was the main objective for them today. Never an easy place to play. Duncan said it before the game. They've not had success there in the past. They got beat there end of last season, but today to get that win is so important for them.
I thought it was a wee bit surprising that he left Brozier on the left-hand side when he brought him on. Why not put him through the middle?
Yeah.
Maybe bring Sterling off and do that. Maybe Chelsea could have maybe worked off that bigger striker,
Yeah.
But he pushed him on the left was a wee bit surprising for me.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about number 9s and lack of a bit later on. But let's take a look at the goal itself and the incident that led to it.
Yeah, I think if you look at Frank, will be thinking right now we've done a great job. And what happens here is Mason Mount has a little bit of movement in behind Mason Holgate. Now that just attracts him. See, Chilwell then is in a good position, and he probably should have stayed with him, but instead he goes towards Mason Mount. That opens up that little bit of space, that pocket. The Corey then has to backtrack. It's you know, and then it's panic stations. But you cannot underestimate how good this pass is. Touch, bang, he sees it. That is an elite midfield player's pass from Koulibaly. Brilliant pass. Chilwell gets in a good position. Panic stations from Decore, and it's a definite penalty after that.
And the timing of this incident as well, Duncan. 8 minutes of added time at the end of the first half because of the injury to Ben Godfrey. And then when Chelsea get the penalty, and you know you've got Jorginho waiting to take it, it's almost guaranteed.
He's good, isn't he, at them? So as Jamie said, I think it was, it was a poor goal conceded from Everton's point of view. I think Mason just comes out there too quickly. Just hold up your position a little bit more. And I think when Mason goes out, he opens up that gap, as Jamie said. And then the other centre back might be get across a bit quicker, but he never had quite time to react, I suppose. But a poor goal for Everton's point of view, and it was right just before half time, wasn't it?
Yeah, we can take a look at what you're just saying and sort of illustrate it with the pictures, because you were both sort of making the point that while there were things that Everton could have done, it was the time they had to react.
Yeah, you see Mason Holgate, the number 4, that he gets attracted to, and it's a lovely little look that Mason Mount makes. He knows that he can see it, he opens up that space, and then Chilwell is free, Duncan, isn't he? Yeah, good position for Chilwell, wasn't it? Clever player, gets in the pocket in there, and they make a lovely pass, as you say, right into them. And then it's a knock-on effect, and Everton are kind of chasing in, and they're chasing the guy. Yeah.
Everton did, as you say, have their chances, though. They had moments in the game that, had they taken one of those chances, it could have been a very different outcome.
Yeah, nothing really clear-cut as such in the first half. Certainly second after a wee bit of the counter-attack, didn't in the first 5 minutes of the second half, when Demarai Gray gets through. Shown the first half.
You'd have liked this one, Duncan. I could see you getting on the end of that one. Yeah. That was food and drink for you.
Yeah, Anthony was just a bit too high for him, wasn't it?
But it illustrates the point that you started off by making, which is there isn't somebody who has that instinct of a number 9.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think they lacked a wee bit of presence up there, didn't they? And but these were quite half chances. It was a good header for the centre back, good save for the goalkeeper.
This is a big one. I felt this was a massive moment in the game. You can just see that there's a mismatch there because Jorginho is not going to catch him. And it's one of those where you'd actually have to admire the defending by Thiago Silva. It was a masterclass from his point of view. Alan Smith was right to give him man of the match. Again here, he gets faced up, a younger player, more pace than him, but doesn't panic, makes a great tackle.
Yeah, there were definitely chances for Everton in that game, and it was Chelsea who took all 3 points. It was Jorginho from the spot, and he and Ben Chilwell are with Patrick Davison.
Guys, well played. Jorginho, if we start with you, how much did you have to give to come through that?
Yeah, a lot, because we know it's a really hard stage to play, and the atmosphere was brilliant, and I'm glad we stayed humble and we worked hard, like we put a lot of effort, and then I think it was a deserved win.
Ben, after so long out and such a serious injury, what did it mean to you to be back?
Yeah, like you said, worked hard for a long time for that moment to play in the Premier League again, and it just felt amazing to be back on the pitch with the boys. Obviously, had pre-season under my belt, just really looking forward to getting them first minutes in the league again, and thankfully it was a win as well.
Is it fair to say no matter how much work you do in the gym or on the training pitch, you can never quite be ready for what it's like out there?
100%. Like I said then, I've had the whole of pre-season plus a few extra weeks when I come in early, and it's completely different to this.
Still exhausted after 5 minutes.
It's the Premier League. It's intense. It's why it's one of the, if not the best league in the world. Every week's a tough game, and especially when you come here, one of the toughest places to come. So first game back in, just happy to get the win, but exhausted.
Just tell us what it's like with the manager at the moment, because from what he's saying, you're absolutely pushing him. I want to play, and he's having to sort of look after you and hold you back a little bit.
Yeah, we had a conversation yesterday actually, and he kind of said, do you feel ready? And I said, yeah, of course. Don't know if I am, but I feel like I am ready. I've been here the whole of pre-season. I worked hard over the summer, so in my head, mentally and physically, I'm ready just to help the team, really.
We'll come to the guy who scored the penalty in a second, but on that, is that you at your best when you're bursting into the box like that?
Yeah, it's going to take a while to get back into the way I was playing before my injury, but...
the worst, you were flying, weren't you?
I was, yeah. But, I'm just happy.
He's laughing at you. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm really humble.
Yeah, we were talking about humble earlier.
I put the words in your
He
mouth.
said it.
Yeah. You're okay, Ben. Don't worry. Don't go red.
But no, I mean it was yeah, no, they're the moments where I want to impact the game, getting the ball in them areas and driving into the box, and thankfully Georgie put it away as well.
So what was it like? Stood over that penalty. Honestly, did Wembley and what happened there flash through your mind at all?
Yeah, of course you think about it, and you work during the week thinking what the keeper might do in that moment, try to save it. So I was thinking a lot, and then I took that decision, and fortunately it was the right decision this time.
Okay, so tell me a bit more about that. So you're thinking, okay,
He wants to know. No.
So you're thinking,
today?
No, yeah. So the one today, you're thinking, okay, save my last one. Obviously, you didn't stutter today, so there's a little bit of psychology there.
Yeah, definitely. It's for me, a penalty is like 70-75%. It's all in the head and psychology. So I thought a lot, and then I trained, and fortunately today it went well.
I agree.
You were flying. You were flying.
That's a good way to end. Well done. You were flying.
Yeah. Well done.
Good win.
Well done, bud.
Thank you guys.
Well done.
Cheers.
Yeah, no stutter from Jorginho, and he did manage to score from the penalty spot. The decisive goal in the game, but good to see Ben Chilwell back. He's been out since November in a World Cup year. How important is it, especially when Cucurella coming into the club as well, that he gets minutes and he gets chances to get to match fitness?
He'll get plenty of minutes. Cucurella can play as a left-sided centre-back as well, and I'll be interested to see how those two get on, because I'm sure they'll form a good relationship, both good footballers. Cucurella can overlap him. I think that should really work well. But in terms of the World Cup, of course, what an opportunity for him, because we haven't got an abundance of left-backs. You think obviously Trippier had to play there at times for Gareth Southgate, so we haven't had that many that you're looking at. Luke Shaw, obviously this year's a big season for him, but whoever can have a good 2 months will be looking at starting in the World Cup for sure. And to see him back fit and playing well is obviously so good for him and so important after what was a nasty injury.
Yeah, like you said, you can do all the training in the world, but it doesn't prepare you for Premier League football.
Yeah. Can vouch for that.
I don't suppose you want to comment on England's team selection for the World Cup?
Not really, no. That one, please.
Oh, Thomas, this has not been a kind ground to Chelsea in the last few seasons. How satisfied are you to have come through that?
Yeah, it's like you said, we struggled last seasons to get points here. We have the points. Well, a win is a win. That's the most important for everything. Also to get better, because we have to get better.
Okay, so I was going to say, you say a win's a win. Does that tell us the performance wasn't everything you hoped it would be?
No, but I could assume that in that we maybe are not on a highest level. We have players in, but they came in late. The pre-season was kind of a bit of turbulent. The last week in training was very promising. In some situations through the first half it was quite good. Then the second half I think we had simply not enough movement on the ball, and with less movement, more ball losses. And it was a bit of a strange second half without a rhythm for no team and interruptions, and in the end 10 minutes extra time, a bit strange. But we hang in, and we did what was necessary to keep a clean sheet, so there are positive things, and from there we go.
So in a way, is it a classic first game of the season, just a little bit rusty?
Yeah, for us, yes, and very classic that we win 1-0 with a penalty from Jorginho, also very classic. Like I said, we know we need to get better, but this first of all, a win helps the most to be open for improvement and for the atmosphere and the spirit, and this is where we go and from where we build the next step.
New signings today. Sterling looked sharp first half, and
yes.
Koulibaly okay?
Koulibaly, and then we struggled with physicality, because Kouli is still a bit late and came late and lacks a bit of training. Raheem was very strong, struggled also physically in the end, and very happy with the 20 minutes from Cucurella. Was very strong and very important for us.
Koulibaly came off. Was that just cramp?
Yeah, cramps and yeah.
Okay, so moving forward, you're linked with players in almost every area of the pitch. Well, you are linked with players in every area of the pitch. You've talked about being a team in transition. Are you looking to add?
Yeah,
Defender, midfielder, striker.
Yeah, if we can add, we add. Maybe not necessarily midfielders as a first option, but we're open for everything. And I think we can use new energy and new legs and fresh input to bring us to a new level. If not, then we will push this team. But I think we could use some more input and some more quality. We're on it, but we will not tell you.
I thought you wouldn't. What does today tell you about what you might be able to achieve this season? I listened to your press comments on Friday, and you almost don't seem sure yourself.
Yeah, I'm not sure myself. That's why I don't want to put pressure on us, and I don't want to. And at the same time, I don't want to lower our expectations. But giving the performance today and the quality of the match today, we do what we should do. I think, like, dig in, keep quiet, stay humble, analyze this game. There's a lot of things to improve, and we have a whole weekend. And the next week we'll have one headline. This is Tottenham.
Well done.
Good. Thanks.
Thanks, Thomas.
Already looking forward to that game between Tottenham and Chelsea next weekend. It's going to be live on Sky Sports, so you can watch and see what happens in that one. From his point of view, is this just a game, opening game in the season, a couple of new players to bring in that he needed to get through with all 3 points?
Yeah, and they were rusty. They weren't at their best, but it was a really big win for them. He mentioned there, he alluded to it, he wants some more players in, and I think they do. I think they need a number 9, need a striker. They've not had a lot of success over the last few years. I think, obviously, Diego Costa, before that, Drogba, were impeccable in that position, but since then they have struggled to find someone to fill the void. Lukaku didn't work for him. He might want a team that plays with a bit more fluidity and players coming in off the line, and that's why Sterling might be the striker for them. Brozier, is he ready yet? He's a good young player, but he's going to be in and out of the team. There's a demand that's bigger than the supply. That's the problem. It's very hard to find a good striker out there and pay big money. There's not many Duncan Fergusons about. He'd be worth about 130 million if he was playing now. There's not many number 9s that you can find. That's why Haalands and people like that are so hard to get.
Yeah, Duncan's going to go off and start polishing his boots after this.
Yeah.
Just perked up when he heard that.
We definitely need a striker, don't they?
Yeah,
or need to play Brozian through the middle. If that, or maybe doesn't fancy him through the middle, I'm not quite sure. But they'll definitely need to go in the market and get a striker. They've paid a lot of money for a left back, a lot of money. What's a striker going to cost them?
Yeah, and it could well be that they already, as the biggest spenders in the Premier League over this transfer window, go out and spend more money trying to solve that problem. One of the players who came into Chelsea on a free transfer, Thiago Silva, has proved to be one of the best acquisitions from last season, and he was putting a man of the match performance today.
He was fantastic, wasn't he? Brilliant player, great career, phenomenal really. 37, 38 next month, I think. Incredible. Jimmy?
Amazing player. He's just got this ability that he's like a magnet. He's got an amazing experience. He's so calm. He gets in positions like this, never phased. Makes a really good challenge there. One of the great defenders I think we've ever seen. I think he's won 23 major honours. The only thing that's eluded him is not won the Champions League, and that might be why he's not maybe the Maldinis or people don't put him in that bracket of Baresi. But for me, one of the great defenders, a joy to watch. Been brilliant for Brazil over the years, and to be doing it still at this level and looking so calm in what is a fast and furious league, he just looks so assured. And how would you have dealt with him, Don? What would you have done?
Not quite sure, to be honest with you. I certainly wouldn't be running him behind, but he's really is a top class player, isn't he? And to be doing it at 37, what a fantastic professional, eh? So brilliant.
And is there still time for Koulibaly to learn from Thiago Silva as well? When you bring in someone who, yes, has had a good career, is really well respected within the game, there's still stuff that you can learn from Thiago Silva.
He had a good debut today. He'd be really pleased. He was a little bit lucky here. I think this should have been a booking, and then you're playing with the rest of the game with a few nerves, but very calm on the ball. Look, knows how to play. Little 1-2s. That's fantastic there. Good at, in terms of winning tackles, comfortable, good touch. I thought he was excellent today. It's a brilliant signing. He was one a little bit like Thiago Silva. I wish we'd have seen a little bit earlier in our league, because he's come at slightly, 31 years of age, I think he is now. But he's got really good pace, confident. That pass there, that made the difference. That is such a magnificent pass from a central defender that cut them open, and he'll be pleased. And I think when you talk about can he still learn, I think he's a finished article. But Fofana, and if they can get him from Leeds, that's why they're from Leicester, who's a I think he's sort of 21 years of age, maybe even younger. He'll be, if you could get him now to learn from Koulibaly, to learn from Thiago Silva, that's a masterclass every week, not just in terms of training, in matches, how they live their life. And that's why you probably will need someone, because as I say, the average age of that back three today is you're risking injuries, fatigue, the way the Premier League is now. So that's certainly why they want to get a young player like Fofana in.
Frank, I'm sure you're disappointed and frustrated, but was it also 90 minutes that really encouraged you?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, frustrated maybe, but not in terms of our performance, because I thought we were really good. We, defensively, give the lads a solid game plan to defend, because Chelsea want to pick you up, pull you apart, and play through you, and we never allowed them to, other than one tiny moment of concentration. And they load the sides. Sometimes they can drag you out of the 18-yard box. It's a tiny mistake from us, and it decided the game. Because in general play, they may have had more possession. I think we had better chances, and I thought our lads gave everything. So there's small frustration purely because of the result.
So in terms of the atmosphere and the performance, is the really encouraging thing that it felt like a continuation of the back end of last season?
Yeah, the atmosphere was great. Thanks again to the fans. They turn up before the game. They support us during the game, and the atmosphere was brilliant. I thought the players played their part in that, because the energy in our team from start to finish was brilliant. Maybe we tired a bit second half, but when you're asking to play without a 9, 3 lads, young lads, relatively young lads, to be really mobile constantly against Chelsea and defend, and then get the ball and try and be mobile is a big ask for them. And I think you look at the benches, Chelsea can make changes. We can make changes, of course, but in those forward areas there were not so many for us to make. And then we get 2 injuries at centre back. So things sort of come on top of you, but I can't take away anything from the performance, I think, of the lads. I think we were unlucky not to get a point out of the game.
Just tell us a bit more about what you asked of those front three. It looked to me like Anthony Gordon was the focal point, but it was mobile between the three of them.
Yeah, Anthony was generally the focal point. But they were mobile, and they just have to understand when they're mobile and the ball turns over and we're defending, they have to understand their position defensively. I thought they did it really well, and I think we gave Chelsea a lot of problems, and that's what I'm saying in terms of our final pass, the final bit. Of course, if you have a number 9 up front, one of the crosses in the first half, put their head on it and you may score. I can't ask so much from the front three. Dominic's got injured 3 days ago, so that changes your plans. And they're all good players at the top end of the pitch, and we gave Chelsea a lot of problems. So it's one of those days I don't want to lay too much on my players at all. In fact, the opposite, I want to support them, because I thought they gave everything. I thought midfield, considering Decore is an 8 who wants to get in the box, and Alex Iwobi could be a winger, could be a wing back, could be anything, and he plays in midfield with that sort of discipline that he played today. The lads, the structure at the back of the pitch for us was really good, and it was just that little bit that didn't go for us.
Any complaints about the penalty? Just what you were saying in your first answer, it sounds like your quibble, if you like, is more with your own concentration just for that split second.
I think Chile's smart, but I'm not saying it's not a penalty, because I think Dukes has a bit of his arm, and I think probably we didn't need to at that point. I think that Yeri was coming over to maybe block a possible shot, but I understand that it's just small differences in the box, and the mistake was more getting pulled slightly out of position for us as a team, and Chile gets the other side, and once you're the other side and you sort of have a little bit of contact, it's going to be a penalty.
Is the real concern today not the performance, which you said really happy with, but the injuries?
Yeah, and it makes it hard. Ben gets that injury. We think it's a small fracture of his leg, of his fibula, so we'll see how long that'll be. And Yeri, an ankle injury that we don't know much about at the moment. So we've had that here a little bit. It's hard to put your finger on those kind of, not freak injuries, but I think Ben's foot's caught in the grass. Yeri I didn't see, and not muscle injuries, they're freak injuries, so we have to make sure the squad is strong enough to handle those things.
So it might change what you do in the market, it might change plans?
Maybe not. We've got centre-backs at the club, but we're looking in different areas which we know what we want to do. Not going to declare them now, but I think everyone can feel that there's movement and we're trying to work in the right direction. My main focus today is the performance that the lads put on the pitch, because you see the fans at the end of the game, they've responded to what the players did today, and it's one game out of the 38, and we didn't get a point that I felt we probably could have got, but we have to take confidence in not only what the players did out there today, but how we're going to look going forward, because we're looking to bring in a few players to help the squad. Could
I ask you about a couple, Anana and Idrissa Gueye, just because they do seem close?
Yeah, I can talk about Anana because he's here today. So,
what does he bring?
A lot. I'm a big fan. That's why he's coming. And when you come in as a manager, you want to influence the team style, the way we play. And in terms of a midfield player, young player that has for me, everything in terms of physicality, quality on the ball, energy, and defensive mindset. You know, an all-rounder for us. With for me, a big future, and he's going to have a big impact on the club. And I've met him as a lad, and he's a good lad. He's got a real confidence about him. So that's the way we want to go. With recruitment, you have to look where can we get stronger, where do we need to get stronger, and how can we do it in the right way with the right profile of player and maybe age. So I think he comes in at a really good age for us, where he's going to be. For me, I don't want to hang too much on him. It sounds like I'm building it up, but for me, I'm very pleased that we're very close to doing that one.
Okay. And last one, I promise. As well as the lads did up top today, because of what's happened, the unforeseen circumstances, is a striker a must?
Well, we're looking at that. We're looking at that because Dominic coming out in 3 days before the first game, and you can't replace it. Salomon suspended, so we need to look at that to make sure we've got adequate, not just players to play, but players to bring in. We've got 9 subs now. You look at Chelsea's bench, you understand the difference. That's fine. We're not striving to be anybody else, but we want to have players that, when we played up today, I think our overall performance deserves us to put the ball in the back of the net once or twice. And of course, we'll look for those type of players if we are looking to recruit them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.